This Aputure MC is not the brightest and definitely not the cheapest credit card size LED light in the market, but for some reason, it is one of the best selling product right now. Let's find out why in this video. Kia ora, good morning everyone, Rich Wong here. Welcome back to the channel. If you have been following my channel for a while, you may remember that I have reviewed quite a few different battery power LED light on this channel. And I have reviewed so many that actually recently I have turned down pretty much all the LED light review requests because I feel like there are some really good products there, but they're all pretty similar, so I kind of feel like I need to take a break and not really want to review any more LED light for a while, unless there's something that is quite interesting. So when recently Aputure contacted me and asked me if I'm interested in reviewing their MC LED light, I actually immediately say yes, I want to do a review of your light. And there are two main reasons. One is I have used quite a few Aputure products in the past. For example, the light that I'm using right now, my main studio light that I've been using for the last probably 2 years or so, is the Aputure 120D2, and it's been working really well, so I really enjoy using it. And also the other Aputure product that I have used, they all seems to be pretty good. And the second reason is this MC light is actually not the cheapest credit card size LED light in the market, and actually quite a bit more expensive than some other very similar looking and similar size LED light, but for some reason they are selling very well. So that got me curious to find out why such an expensive compared to the other product LED light it's still selling so well. So now I have received the sample, I've been using it a little while, so I want to share with you my thoughts and what do I think about this LED light. But just because I received this sample from Aputure, I can promise you this is still going to be a fair and honest review. And in fact, Aputure, they actually tell me at the very beginning that I want you to do a fair and honest review of our products. So tell us just exactly what you think about the product in your review. Okay, let's start the review by talk about what comes with this Aputure MC light. So first thing, you got a very nice little pouch that is specially designed for the MC light. It is not a generic one. It's a very nice quality one. I think this is probably the best quality carrying case or pouch that comes with any of those portable LED light. There is a front place for you to put all the accessories in here and maybe something more. It's quite deep, and then at the back this is where you put the light into it, and you can clip this pouch onto your belt or your bag or anywhere else. And then we have a soft cover diffuser that you can clip onto the light. Pretty nice quality, and it is quite a bit thicker than the typical soft diffuser that comes with the other LED light. I think the reason is because they want to leave a bit of space between the light and also the front of the diffuser, and this way it would allow the diffuser to work a lot better than if the surface is directly attached onto the light. And then we have a USB-C charging cable, and again the quality of this cable is quite a bit better than the other USB cable that comes with the other LED light. It just feels a lot more solid, much better quality, both the connector and also the cable itself. If you hold it, then you can immediately tell like this is a high quality USB cable, not just a cheap 50 cents generic cable that usually comes with other LED lights. And then we also have two more Velcro tape here if you prefer to use the Velcro tape to attach the MC light onto any kind of surface. I think pretty much anything you can attach it on, and it is the 3M Velcro tape, so not just any cheap generic Velcro tape. So I guess it's quite clear that Aputure is only using high quality stuff with the Aputure MC. And last but not least, we have this Aputure MC light. So let's talk about the build quality and design of this light. This Aputure MC is a credit card size RGBWW LED light. So what does that mean? The RGB means you can use this light to output pretty much any color that you want. And then we have the two W in the end. So those two W are the white LED, and one is the tungsten balance LED, and one is the daylight balance LED. So with those two WW light, it can output any white color that is between tungsten and daylight white color. This light has the CRI rating of 96 and TLCI rating of 97. What that means is the light that is generated by this Aputure MC should be very high quality, so it can help you to capture accurate and nice color no matter you are shooting photo or video. Now pretty much every single LED light in the market will have a little OLED screen, and the spec of the OLED screen I think would probably be very similar between all these different LED light, but somehow some company can make the OLED display just look a lot better than the other product in the market. And the OLED display on this Aputure MC is definitely one of the best looking OLED display that I have ever seen on any of the LED light in the market. However, even though I say I really like this little OLED display, but maybe because the size of this OLED display is not a very large one, or maybe Aputure just want to simplify the display, one thing that I found missing is it doesn't actually display the percentage of battery remaining, and instead it just displays like a 4 or 5 bar of the battery status. So if you want to know precisely how much battery is remaining, unfortunately you couldn't do that with the Aputure light. So this is something that I don't really like, because sometimes, like for example 2 bar, it could mean 21% or 39%. So there is quite a bit of difference between, you know, the two extreme of each bar. So I would definitely love to see the remaining battery percent displayed on the screen. On the side here, we have a control wheel here, which is also clickable, and we have the on-off switch, and there's a USB-C charging port on the other side. So that's pretty much it. And to control the light is very simple. The control wheel is pretty much the only thing that you would use. Adjust the power or whatever setting that you have currently selected by turning the wheel, and click on it will allow you to toggle between the different settings that you can adjust using the control wheel. And if you long click on it, then you can choose between the different lighting mode that this Aputure MC can do. I'm going to talk about the different lighting mode very soon, but before that, talk about the back of the light first. There are two magnets on each side of the back of the light. So this is one feature that I really like, because with these two magnets, you can attach this light directly onto many different kind of metal surface. You can attach it to a light stand, you can attach it to a metal shelf, you can attach it to your fridge, or you can attach it to the outside of your car. So there are many different surfaces that you can easily just attach this MC light onto using the two magnets at the back. I am actually quite surprised that there are not many lights in the market that has the magnet on it, because it just make a lot of sense to have the magnet here. It just gives you a lot more flexibility on how or where you can mount this light. We have a screw hole at the bottom of the light for you to attach it onto a tripod or light stand or a gimbal or any other attachment accessories. One thing I want to point out is there's only one screw hole at the bottom of the light. There's nothing on the side, unlike a lot of other LED light. So not sure if it matters to you, but it's just something I want to point out in case you really want to have a screw hole on the side of the light. The overall build quality of this Aputure MC is definitely fantastic. The metal construction make it feel very solid, and at the same time it also feel very premium as well. Unlike a lot of other similar size LED light in the market, they also may have the metal construction and it feel quite nice, but holding those lights in the hand, you feel like you're holding some kind of gadgets, fun gadgets. But with this Aputure light, it feels like it is a proper tool that you can use it even for professional work that you can rely on. So yeah, there is just something magical about how Aputure create this light. It just feels quite different and just quite a lot better than the other LED light that I have used in the past. And in terms of brightness, this Aputure MC is pretty bright. I have done some comparison with the LumeCube Panel Mini and have both the light outputting at 100% power, and when I compare the result, I would say the maximum brightness from these two lights are very similar. Now the LumeCube Panel Mini is slightly smaller than the Aputure MC, but this is a bicolor LED light while the Aputure MC is a RGBWW. So having a RGBWW light that can match the brightness of a bicolor light, that is pretty impressive. There are a few different lighting mode that is available on this Aputure MC. The first one I want to talk about is the CCT mode. CCT mode is basically the bicolor output mode, so you can get it to output white color from the color temperature 3200 all the way to 6500 by just using this control wheel here, and you can adjust it in the 100-degree steps. And the next mode is the HSI mode. HSI stands for Hue Saturation Intensity. Hue roughly means what color it is, so if I'm adjusting the hue right now, you can see it will change from blue to green to yellow and red, and then it will purple, and at the end go back to blue. So that's what hue is for. And then S is the saturation. It just means how strong the color is. Right now I set it to 100%, so that means it's very colorful. And if I dial the saturation down to 0%, the light would output white color. And then the I intensity is the easiest one to understand. If I dial it down to 0%, then it's not outputting any light at all. And if I dial it up to 100%, then it's outputting the brightest light from this Aputure MC. And then we have the FX mode, which the light would output some special effect lighting. Adjusting the lighting and jumping between different lighting mode with this Aputure MC is just very easy because there's only one control wheel, unlike some other lights in the market which may have an array of buttons that you have to remember which one to click. With this one, everything is very intuitive. You know, just turn it if you want to change the setting, quickly tap it if you want to toggle between the settings, and a long press to jump between different lighting modes. So yeah, it is very intuitive. You don't even need to read the menu, you don't need to try to memorize it. I really like how Aputure make this whole user interface so simple and so intuitive, and this is definitely a big plus if you compare to a lot of other LED lights in the market. But there is more, because Aputure also created a smartphone app called CDS, I think, which is available for both the iOS and Android. And that CDS app is probably the best lighting app that I have ever used. Everything just feels very intuitive, and there are also lots of features. You can easily adjust all the different lighting modes that I talked about before very quickly, very easily. And you can also pair multiple lights with the app so that you can control multiple different lights at the same time. You can either group them together or control them separately. The whole user interface is very nicely designed. Even though this is probably the most feature-rich app that I have ever used, but it didn't take me long for me to understand how it works. I just need to play with it for about 30 minutes or so, and then I figured out all the different features that is available on the CDS app. And there's one feature that I really like, I find it really handy and very powerful, is that you can use your smartphone to take a picture of a different object or a different light source, and then it can immediately match that light and apply it to your Aputure MC. So that is definitely a very powerful feature if you want to just quickly match another light source that you already have in your room, or you have, for example, a product that, for example, is a red color product. You want to have some red light that matches the product, then you can quickly do that by using the color matching feature. But not only that, you can even learn and match another light pattern that you want to mimic. For example, if you have a light in your room that is flashing at some particular frequency or color, then you can easily use this CDS app to copy that light pattern and apply it to the Aputure MC so that you can now have two light sources that is outputting the same lighting effect. However, even though I really like this CDS app, I do have some problem with the app. During one time when I was testing it, suddenly the app crashed, and actually I have more than one crash when I was using the app. But this time, after the app crashed, when I restart the app, I just no longer can reconnect to the Aputure MC. Normally it only takes like 5-10 seconds and it will pair with it very quickly and I can start controlling the light. But after that crash, I just can no longer reconnect the phone to the light. I've tried all the things that I can think of. I restart the light, I restart the phone, and I even reset and delete all the cache and data for the CDS app. I spent at least 30 minutes but just couldn't get the two things to connect. In the end, I finally managed to fix the problem, and that is I have to delete the light from the app. And once I did that and then try to repair it again, and now the light can connect successfully with the phone again. But apart from that 30 minutes when I can't connect the light to the smartphone, the CDS app is a very well designed and also very useful app for you to control not just the Aputure MC but also a number of other Aputure lighting products. In terms of battery life, the Aputure MC has a pretty large 2600 mAh rechargeable battery built in, and Aputure claims the battery life is up to 120 minutes at full power, and my real world experience is pretty close to that. And if you're not running it at 100%, if you're running it at only 50%, then the light seems to just last forever. You can charge this Aputure MC using the supplied USB-C charging cable, but one pretty cool thing is it also supports wireless charging. So if you already have a wireless charger for your smartphone, you can use that to charge the Aputure MC as well. That is a pretty cool feature. I don't think there are many other LED lights in the market that support wireless charging. After using this Aputure MC for a couple of weeks, I think I understand why this light, despite it is not necessarily the brightest and definitely not the cheapest, but it is still so popular. From the design, the build quality, how the light feel when you hold it in the hand, and all those little design touches and features that most other manufacturers, they just simply don't want to pay too much attention to it. And in the end, Aputure just managed to make a product that can stand out in the market, even though there are dozens, if not hundreds of other very similar products in the market. And because of that, it makes the customers actually happy to pay a little bit more because they know they are getting a very good product in return.